In recent videos, you may have seen me using this Aneng 623 meter because of its opulent display, but it's just failed. And I thought it would be interesting exploring this together to see what's gone wrong. So if I hold the button for a few seconds to turn it on, the display is supposed to power up, but in reality, if I gently close it, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? There it is, the display's appeared, but then you open it again and the display disappears. It appears to be the cable going through the hinge appears to be a problem. So let's turn it off. And I've already ascertained, is it off yet? It's off. Right, I've already ascertained that there's 6 screw positions on the display section, but if you look at we'll open the base section first, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I reckon that these screws are also in that, the ones that are going into the hinge. So let's take those screws out and we'll see how far this gets us. Maybe it won't get us very far. Maybe it will just pop right open. So the question is this going to be a huge big ribbon cable? Or is it going to be data and power, which would be better? Hopefully data and power. I'm not sure why this has got that sort of scribbly look all over the back. Not sure where that came from. It has not been abused. These screws different lengths? They are. Right, hold on. Let's bring in this and we'll put that there, and that over there. So, right. Let's make sure we got all the screws back in the right place. That would be disastrous. That thing where you put in a slightly too long screw and there's a crunching noise as it scrunches through a circuit board inside. I may actually make a little note with a pen. Doesn't matter, it's a black pen, but I'll just make a little X next to that with a black pen because then I'll be able to see that that one is a different length. As are these ones probably. Are these super tiny? They are smaller. Okay, I'll put them in a different area then. And at this point, it probably won't open. But we'll find out when I try opening it. Is that going to... Oh, it is kind of opening. It's kind of opening. Oh, that wasn't too bad. That was not too bad. There is a ribbon cable that's scrunched up and going through there. Is that what's failed? Or is it the connector? So let's unplug the battery from here. I will also unplug, this is the charging port. So we'll unplug that as well. Oh, that's not wanting to come out. 2 identical connectors, but that's all right. Well, that looks seated in properly in there. Let's open the other side of it now. I mean, this is all good to see how it comes apart anyway. Let's get a sharp knife. And we'll use it to prise out these little rubber bungs. Or are they adhesive? Hopefully they're just rubber bungs. Hopefully there are screws under here. Oh, I've already burst one of the rubber bungs. That's fine. I'm not too bothered. Maybe they won't ever go back in. I'll put them in there. They're not really going to stick very well into a magnetic tray, but that's how it is. They're slightly adhesive. So they will stick in a way, just not in a good way. And we do have little screws under those. Good. That's also not too bad. Could just stick that onto there, couldn't I? And another one. And another one. 2 more. And then we can pop the screws out and see if it's as simple as a cable coming out of a connector. That'd be good. What is this? That's a 1800 milliamp hour lithium cell. That's not bad. I wonder what the power consumption this is. I've just snapped the tip of this blade off in there. By prizing too deeply. That's all right. I have no regrets. Okay. Taps it upside down to get the residual screw out. Is this a good one for this? No, I don't think that is a good one for that. What about this one? That feels better. I may actually keep these screws completely separate if they're not like the others. I shall put them here. This is where I could pause while I'm taking these screws out. And this is where people will say, why aren't you using a cordless screwdriver? Well, I could, but every time I use a cordless driver, people complain about the noise. Oh, so it's not really that intense, is it? I'm trying to see. It's black on a black background. This isn't terribly helpful. Have I taken that screw out? Yes. Have I taken this screw out? Tell you what, I will pause then. I will pause while I take the screws out. Or will I? People also complain when I pause while taking the screws out. You could just skip forward. It's very easy to do. And besides, you're seeing the whole process of taking this apart. This screwdriver isn't perfect for this. But it's good enough. It's a crossish shaped screwdriver. Is this going to pop apart easily once I've done this? Am I going to end up breaking the LCD display? That would be a disaster. It's not a hugely expensive meter, but it's also not a cheap meter. It's aimed at the automotive industry, and it has some quirks. One of the most annoying quirks for me is the fact you have to hold the power button for 2 seconds or more before it powers up, and then you have to wait for it to boot after it's powered up, which is not what you want in a meter. Oh, right, okay, so this is coming off. This is coming off. Right, so this here, it doesn't look ripped. And it looks hooked into the connector all right. Oh, look at that. That is the illuminated bezel thing. Right, tell you what, I may connect the battery again and wiggle things. I do feel that I don't like this ribbon cable being smooshed up like that. How many connectors is it? It looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 connections going through this. I shall power it up again. Where is the battery? We'll plug the battery on, making sure I get the right way around. That would be good. And I shall push the button. Push the button. Nothing happens. Excellent. Cable. The LEDs in the back have lit. That's nice. Wiggle this. Nothing. Wiggle this end of the connector. Nothing. Twist the cable gently. Oh, I think the cable's failed. That's not great, is it? So is this a fairly standard cable? I shall try reseating the cable, just in case. So it's the type with the little tabs that pop up, I think. Is it the type with the little tabs that pop up? Or is it the one that you just shove it in? One of the things you can do with these is if you get the wrong, some of them lift up, some of them pop out, some of them have tabs. It's just, if you get the wrong way around, it breaks the connector. Can't really tell with this one. Oh, I see what it is. It's the one that little plug, the little black bit pops out. And once it pops it out, we can just basically pull the cable straight and just see if there's anything really obviously broken here. I may have to shine a bright light through this to actually see if it is broken. 1 moment, please. And the problem is the ribbon cable. One of the traces has broken the ribbon cable, which is quite annoying, but there is at least one redeeming feature here. Let me show you it. If I bring in a picture of the connectors here that ribbon cable is running in, it runs in a very tight space. There is space to lose it over the circuit board here, but it has to literally sneak through this area here. That's the hinge, and then it has to come up here, and it can't just go across there because that's where there's the LED panel for their logo. But it has to basically go through here, curl back and into this connector. It's not a lot of space. Note that these connectors are the type with the little black bit that pulls out the way. To release the connector, pull these bits out. However, before you even remove the ribbon cable, if you ever have a problem like this, note that you can test for continuity because they have left the option with these pads. They've mimicked the 8 connections in the ribbon cable. So in my case, it's the ground to the ground that is faulty. So if I can get that ribbon cable in again, theoretically, I can just run a thin wire from ground to ground. And I've got thin wire here. You can tell it's thin wire because I've marked it as being thin wire. The other option I have here is to actually solder 8 of these thin flexible wires and use a bit of heat shrink sleeving just to act as basically a little conduit to keep them all bundled together here, and then use some ultraviolet cured resin just to tack them in place, the wires in place, noting that when they come through here they're going to have to basically dress quite neatly along here to actually fan out into there, but there is loads of room for that. Tricky decisions. As far as the reliability of the meter goes, I would say if you have one of these meters, you may be better just basically, when you get it, open it up and then avoid closing and opening it, which is just, the whole point is it's a foldable meter. But if you have one of these and you want to make it last a long time before you have to open it and do repairs, then this is an option. I wonder if I can get another of these little ribbon cables. But in the meantime, I'm kind of tempted. I'm going to try putting the ribbon cable in. If it's not going to dress in neatly and give me room for another wire, which it should, I may be quite tempted just to run 8 individual wires through here. That is actually very tempting because they are copper cord flexible wires, and that should last a lot longer. Decisions. I'm going to have a go at fixing this right now, but it's going to be quite fumbly, it's going to be quite time consuming, so I'm going to jump cut to my repair. Are you ready for this? One moment, please. The deed is done. I went with the individual wires and a little bit of the heat shrink sleeving purely as a channel, just where it goes through the hinge. Now, I kind of made these as short as possible. Well, not as short as possible. I could have made them shorter, but really, I wouldn't recommend that. I'd actually recommend make them a bit longer. So if you do this, if you solder the wires initially onto this connector, crop them. I cropped them about an inch beyond the end. That's 25 millimeters. I would say go for 50 millimeters. It will give you a bit more to play with, and you can always lose it up around here because there's loads of room around here. There is also a printed circuit board design error where these connections all tally up to each other, but they don't actually correlate to the little ribbon cable connectors. So if you were to do this, then you have to note that PT2.2 and PT2.3 will need swapped just at this end. And the reason for that is apparently it controls the backlight colour, and if you get them in the wrong order, instead of lighting up green and then red, if they're sort of detecting some anomaly, it lights up red and would probably go green when it detects that same anomaly. It probably flips the colours. It was lighting red. It lights green now that I've swapped those 2 wires over. I've used some ultraviolet cured resin. It's kind of parting because I've been faffing around too much here, and here, and that's more or less it. The main point of that is to try and limit the movement of the area of the cable and stop it going back to putting stress in these solder connections. Is it a recommended procedure? It's a fumbly procedure, I will say that. Anyway, I'm going to put this back together and then we can test it. But before I do put it back together, note things like the little 10 amp ceramic fuse, the 200 milliamp ceramic fuse, there's the current shunt, there's a PTC protection component on the input here, which is interesting, a couple of relays for switching modes. The 2 identical connectors, this one is the charging connector and this one is the lithium cell connector. And other than that, that's more or less it. Little charge indicator LED pointing down into a light guide over there. All interesting stuff. And good solid connections onto the sort of the meter terminals. Just a shame they've kind of let it down with this. Let me know actually in the comments if you've got one of these meters and if you've had a problem with this. Because that is a weakness. But anyway, I shall put this together again and we can test it. And it's back together. So, first test, let's turn it on. it's back in action. And then let's give it lots of bending. The little logo is lit up, that's nice. Lots of bending. It seems fine. Okay, let me do some tests with this. It's quite an interesting meter. I'm just going to zoom up on it a little bit, like that. Okay, so say for instance, it starts, when you power it up, it always goes to DC volts, because this is an automotive meter. That's why it's got the 1 to 8 cylinder, presumably that's the dwell angle, and it's got RPM or 2 or 4 stroke. Interesting. And some other timing functions and frequency and percentage of, presume that's Mark space ratio. Interesting. But it has continuity, which is not instant, but not too bad. When you're swiping down really finely detailed chips, it is a wee bit slow, but that's all right. You just have to go a little bit slower. The other thing, it's got the resistance mode. It does have nulling. So if you hold the leads together, the resistance here is 0.2, so you can press relative and it will cancel that out. So you're getting pretty much zero resistance in the leads, which is useful. And you can use the relative mode on other things. And it is accurate at getting low resistances. We've got the capacitance and we've got diode test. The diode test, if I can just find an LED here. This'll do. The diode test is enough voltage to light an LED chip. Normally it's just designed to display the forward voltage of a diode, but it's quite handy that it can light an LED if needs be, because it is putting out probably close to about 3 volts open circuit. Other than that, it's a good meter. Did I just get a bad one? Maybe during manufacture that got nipped in the hinge and it works, they sent it out anyway. Or is this a common problem? I guess you'll tell me down in the comments down below. But the main thing is, stuff going through hinges and flexible phones and all that stuff, it's just a weak point. It's a nice enough idea. I would say if you've got one of these, just as I mentioned earlier, just leave it open on your bench if needs be. Don't open and close it too much. But if the wires do go in it, at least you know that you can change the wires. And just remember that if you could maybe get a new ribbon cable, but just remember that if you solder links between these connections to these, make sure you swap these two connections at this end, because that will just make sure the screen lights in the correct colour. Oh, incidentally, common positive, and one of these is green and one of these is red, and there's buffer transistors on it. It seems straightforward. But there we have it. It's an okay meter. I'm not sure if I really want to use it in my videos now, because this one failed. And the last thing I want is you guys going, oh, that's a nice meter, buying it, and then it fails. That's a tricky situation, because, as I say, it's got a really nice big display. And I do appreciate the big display. That's why I've been using this meter before, because it's also got that big, huge, bold display. But this kind of meter's gone kind of obsolete now. But there we have it. It's repairable. And that is ultimately the main thing.